Ava Gardner, a native of North Carolina, is honoring Hollywood royalty. This year marks the famous actress's 100th birthday, and the Smithfield Museum bearing her name has some ambitious aspirations. Frank Sinatra, according to Ava Gardner, was the love of her life. However, the reality was much more nuanced. Explosive disagreements, compulsive jealousy, and startling incidents that shocked everyone around them characterized their marriage. Sinatra damaged her in ways she would never forget, but he also loved her very much. Their love affair was complicated, passionate, and highly theatrical, ranging from hazardous, emotionally charged encounters to shattering windows in fits of wrath. Why did Ava switch from love to hate? And why did they stay together until the very end of their lives? You'll have an entirely different opinion of Ava Gardner after watching this video, even though the entire narrative seems implausible. In the little North Carolina hamlet of Grabtown, Ava Gardner was born in 1922, the youngest of a family of tenant tobacco farmers with 7 children. Her early years were spent in a small white farmhouse surrounded by fields of cotton and tobacco. The family's life was already precarious and impoverished when their barn and cotton gin were destroyed in a terrible fire in 1925, forcing them to move to Brogden. The family's life deteriorated throughout the Great Depression as they relocated in quest of employment. Her mother, Molly, ran tiny boarding homes for teachers, while her father, Jonas Gardner, had odd jobs in sawmills. Ava was raised in a tight, quiet Southern household despite financial hardship. She was quiet, reserved, and didn't want to be a movie star. Ava's father passed away from bronchitis in 1938 when she was only 15. A severe emotional wound was left by the loss. Ava's faith was shattered when local ministers declined to come see him in his last days. She eventually acknowledged openly that she had mostly abandoned religion after it, saying, "I never prayed again." At the age of 16, Ava visited her sister Beatrice, often known as Bappy, in New York during the summer of 1939. Her destiny was altered by that seemingly routine excursion. Photographer Larry Tarr, Bappy's spouse, captured a number of powerful photos of Ava. She donned a wide-brimmed straw hat and a frock with polka dots in one picture. An MGM messenger noticed Tarr's display of the picture in his Fifth Avenue studio window. Ava's unadulterated beauty attracted attention right away. MGM executives invited her for a screen test when they saw the picture. At the age of 18, Ava took a train to Hollywood in August 1941, with Bappy serving as her guardian. She signed a $50 weekly contract with Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer, which was occasionally lowered to $35 during personnel cuts. However, prominent parts were not the beginning of her film dream. She was mostly utilized by MGM for marketing photos, particularly pin-up shots intended to raise spirits during the war. Ava frequently felt like a supporting character in her own narrative, calling herself scenery and merely a nice face amid the youthful aspirants in the studios. Her life was strictly regulated. It took clearance from the studio to even leave Los Angeles. Ava met Mickey Rooney on set shortly after moving to Hollywood. Ava's introverted demeanor stood in stark contrast to Rooney's vivacious, gregarious personality. However, their romance immediately took off. They had a modest wedding ceremony on January 10, 1942. Instead of the white gown she had envisioned, Ava donned a navy suit. Their romance appeared to be promising. Forever love was etched on Rooney's ring. However, the union was short-lived, just 17 months. The stark contrasts between them were made clear by Rooney's extravagant lifestyle and numerous romances. Although Ava Gardner's second marriage to bandleader Artie Shaw was short-lived, it had a profound impact on her. He was later referred to by Ava as my college professor. Shaw opened her mind to ideas she had never considered by encouraging her to start therapy and introducing her to books on psychoanalysis. His influence helped Ava become resilient, especially while interacting with influential MGM officials, even though their relationship did not last. Shaw didn't hesitate to challenge studio management. Additionally, he taught Ava how to defend herself in a field that was frequently brutal and harsh. In the meantime, Frank Sinatra's ascent started out in an unusually modest manner. Without any prior preparation, Sinatra went to an audition for bandleader Harry James in June 1939. He just approached the piano and started singing. James was so captivated by Sinatra's unadulterated skill and organic phrasing that he immediately signed him for $40 a week. A few weeks later, on June 30th, 1939, Sinatra debuted with James' band at Baltimore's Hippodrome Theater. He recorded 10 songs with James throughout the course of their 7-month relationship, the most notable of which being All or Nothing at All. The song set the stage for Sinatra's distinctive lyrical approach, even though it wouldn't become a big hit until a few years later. In an attempt to keep the faltering band together, Sinatra famously joked that he nearly shattered James' arm. James' orchestra struggled financially despite the talent involved. In order to keep the band viable, James borrowed $7,000 from Benny Goodman, The band also performed on radio shows without receiving payment for publicity. When Sinatra joined Tommy Dorsey's group in 1940, it was a significant turning point. In addition to increasing his pay to $125 per week, the move took him one step closer to becoming a true celebrity. On January 26, 1940, he performed with Dorsey for the first time at the Coronado Theater in Rockford, Illinois, with the song Stardust. Sinatra recorded around 40 songs with Dorsey in his first year, including I'll Never Smile Again, his first big hit. Dorsey was seen by Sinatra as a mentor, almost as a father figure. He learned to maintain long, flowing breaths that would later characterize his renowned legato singing technique by closely examining Dorsey's trombone phrasing. However, admiration was accompanied by terror. My mother and Tommy Dorsey were the only two people I was ever afraid of, Sinatra famously acknowledged. Tense circumstances led to the termination of their partnership in 1942. Dorsey was entitled to 33% of Sinatra's future earnings under the terms of the deal. As tensions increased, there were even speculations that Sinatra's release from the contract was due to mob participation, though these assertions were never confirmed. Frank Sinatra's private life started to take shape throughout the early years of his profession. In Long Branch, New Jersey, he got to know Nancy Barbato. He was 19, she was 17. In the depths of the Great Depression, they tied the knot on February 4, 1939. Sinatra was a singing waiter attempting to make a reputation for himself at the time, and Nancy was a secretary. Nancy, Frank Jr., and Tina were their 3 children together. Nancy did everything she could to help him, including making his favorite meals, stitching his bow ties, and supporting him while he pursued his goals. However, the strain on their marriage increased along with Sinatra's rise to prominence. Their relationship gradually deteriorated because to demanding tours, yelling crowds, and backstage temptations. Everything would eventually change as a result of his infidelity, most notably his romance with Ava Gardner. When Sinatra first saw Ava Gardner in 1943, she was seated with her husband, Mickey Rooney, in a smoky nightclub in Hollywood. Sinatra was already a huge celebrity at that point with devoted followers. He had 2 children and was married to Nancy. Despite their marriages, there was an indisputable spark between them. Gardner was still in the early stages of her Hollywood career and was more well known for her stunning beauty than for her significant parts. Although their initial encounter was brief, it left a lasting impression. While Ava was stuck in a difficult marriage with Rooney, Sinatra could not stop thinking about her. Nancy was unable to overlook the scars caused by their affair, which quickly turned into tabloid fodder. Sinatra and Nancy formalized their divorce in 1951. Surprisingly, though, Nancy never got married again. For the remainder of his life, they had a polite and encouraging connection. She famously hinted that no one could compare to Sinatra when asked why she never got married again. Despite everything, she continued to be a dependable and devoted part of his life until his passing in 1998. Ava, the woman who would go on to become Frank Sinatra's great, passionate, and ultimately destructive love, was at the center of it all. Ava Gardner gradually returned to the glitzy rhythm of Hollywood life a year after divorcing Mickey Rooney due to emotional abuse. It had been 6 years since their initial meeting when she was reunited with Frank Sinatra in 1949 at an extravagant party in Palm Springs, which was organized by studio magnate Darryl F. Zanuck. By then, Sinatra was stuck in his own troubled marriage, and Gardner had divorced her second husband, Artie Shaw. Sinatra saw Ava across the room amid the lights and music. "God, you're even more beautiful than the last time I saw you," he said as he approached her. A spark that had been simmering for years was rekindled by that one sentence. Alcohol, which both of them could manage like seasoned pros, enhanced their electrifying reunion. They appeared to forget all the responsibilities that were waiting outside those doors as they joked and drank that evening. Ironically, Sinatra and his wife, Nancy, had welcomed another child a few weeks prior. However, nothing could halt the growing relationship between him and the Gardner. It was the beginning of one of the most infamous and intense romantic relationships in Hollywood. They drove off together in Sinatra's Cadillac into the small Californian hamlet of Indo after the celebration, drunk and careless. What came next was almost astonishing. Sinatra took out 2 revolvers and gave one to Gardner while intoxicated. Along the road, they started shooting at storefront windows and streetlights. Police were allegedly shocked to discover 2 of Hollywood's top stars carrying firearms when they finally apprehended them, an event that might have put an end to both of their successful careers in music. However, the matter appeared to be handled discreetly in a fairly short period of time. There are rumors that the event was swiftly erased from official records due to the intervention of strong PR teams. Gardner then asserted that the cops involved retired early under unusually cozy conditions and that all incident-related paperwork vanished. Thus, in the turbulent tale of Ava Gardner and Frank Sinatra, what could have been a scandal that destroyed both careers was reduced to a whisper of legend. An unforgettable and wild love story. Public indignation ensued after Frank Sinatra and Ava Gardner's affair swiftly became the subject of national rumors. Sinatra received scathing criticism from fans. In contrast, the Catholic Church publicly denounced extramarital affairs. His career suffered greatly. Columbia Records dropped him, and he lost his MGM deal. His wife Nancy Barbato, who first refused to grant him a divorce, was strongly supported by the public.
Gardner's reputation as a nasty girl only got worse. Hollywood legends circulated continuously, some of which were fictitious and some of which might be true. Tabloid interest was fueled by tales of all-night parties, careless conduct, even an alleged event involving public misconduct at the Ritz Hotel. The press gobbled up every detail, fact or fiction. Nancy eventually consented to the divorce on November 7, 1951. Just 1 week after it was formalized, Sinatra and Gardner tied the knot. But there was trouble even before the wedding. Ava received an anonymous letter accusing Sinatra of having ongoing extramarital affairs. Gardner later acknowledged that she was so heartbroken by the letter that she almost called off the wedding. She did it in spite of her reservations. Gardner allegedly gave Sinatra a direct warning at their modest, private wedding in Philadelphia, which was organized to avoid constant press coverage. "I'll murder you if you treat me like Nancy." Only a few close friends attended the covert, rushed wedding. Gardner even neglected her suitcase in her haste to get away from photographers. She allegedly had to wear Sinatra's pajamas while on their honeymoon in Miami. It was a fitting start to a marriage that would be both tumultuous and passionate, strong envy, public scandal, ardent love, and personal struggles from which neither of them could completely escape. Frank Sinatra and Ava Gardner's careers were going in quite different directions in the 1940s and early 1950s. Gardner became one of Hollywood's highest-paid actresses with the success of Showboat, making an astounding $140,000 per film at the time. In the meantime, Sinatra's career reached its lowest point. His Columbia Records recording contract was terminated, music and film ventures were canceled, and even his agent left him. It became so bad that Sinatra allegedly charged Gardner's account when he bought gifts for her. Gardner subsequently acknowledged, ironically, that this was when they were happiest. She claimed that he was more kind and modest when Sinatra was having difficulties. However, the old haughtiness tended to reappear once he became well-known again. Sinatra's performance in From Here to Eternity was one of the most significant turning points in his career.